So the recent reveal of the HD remaster of Aladdin and the Lion King had a lot of people talking, and when you look back at these games, a lot of people see them as, wow, those were classics. But there's one thing that the Lion King really stands out to people is, that game was hard! Why was The Lion King so hard? Well, that's what we're talking about today. Now, as many people know, older games back then were hard. They were fun, we all enjoyed them, but, they were in fact pretty hard. Why was that? Well, a lot of times games were really short, or they didn't have a lot of content, so they made the games harder, so you just, spend time playing it more. It's really that simple. They put difficulty in these games, so you play them and you act like the game has more stuff in it than it probably does. When it comes to The Lion King, though, that was released on the Super Nintendo, and around that period, games were bigger, they were more filled with content. Games like A Link to the Past, games like Demon's Crest and ActRaiser and Super Metroid. And, other Disney games at the time weren't quite as hard when you look at games like Castle of Illusion or really even Aladdin. So why was The Lion King so tough? Where exactly does it get tough, by the way? Let's ask that first. So you start, it's not too bad. There's some weird things like exploding beetles and some weird climbing mechanics, but you get up to, the boss, which is a pretty short stage, which is one of the hyenas, and it's pretty tough. I mean, it only takes 2 hits to kill him, but you only really have a couple hits to survive, so whatever. You beat him, and then you wind up in the next stage, just can't wait to be king, and you go through it, and then the first thing you notice that these giraffes are kind of a pain because you have to be very particular, because if you fall, that's it, you die. So you have to have very particular jumps through it, and then once you get past that, which by the way, the giraffes also raise their head if you're on it too long, so, more difficulty there. But hey, these pink monkeys look kind of different, so okay, let's use that at monkeys. It scares them. They go the other direction, and great, we can move on, we can progress, we jump on the hippo, we go through the monkeys, throwing us all around, slide down a giraffe onto this fun auto-scrolling section where we have to duck and jump over stuff, and this part is just absolutely insane. After all that stuff from before, you get this part, and you just keep dying. You just keep dying at the same part, you die, 1 hit, you're dead. That's it. 1 hit, dead, 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 dead. Unlike when you're just moving by yourself, you had a couple hits. Now all of a sudden, you get to the second stage, and it starts introducing all these things that just, if you mess up, you're dead. And that's about it, and that's crazy hard for a second stage. This is something that you imagine would be later in the game, or something that would be toned down a little bit. Now, the reason why this was so hard, because it turns out that the makers of the game want it really hard because they didn't want you to rent the game, they wanted you to buy the game, because that's how they get all their loads of money, is just buying the entire game itself, and then, taking an entire summer or however long it takes you to play through this game just to beat that one level, let alone the rest of the game. But a lot of times when people play these stuff, what happens? Well, they just end up renting it more and more again. That's what I did when I was a kid. I would just keep renting games, and hopefully no one deletes my save file, and I could beat some of these games, because that'd be really cool. And this sucks a lot because there's a lot of really cool looking stuff in the game you really don't get to see, because it's so tough that you can't get past this one section to see all the cool things this game has to offer, visually speaking. And I think that's the biggest shame for a lot of these hard games, that there's so much stuff they could show, and the difficulty really cripples its enjoyment factor, and really show everything that they did in this game and all the work that was involved into it. Now, with the HD remaster coming out, this will definitely help remedy that problem, because you can skip sections, you can rewind sections to go back. Very cool emulator-y kind of stuff, but this is definitely stuff that's needed for a game like The Lion King, because it's just so hard. For marketing reasons, essentially. It's crazy to think about a game like this did that, but you never know what Disney's gonna do next. I am excited for this remaster. I'm definitely getting it, and I'm excited that they're having the Genesis version of Aladdin, and we even get the Super Nintendo version of The Lion King, which is the one that I've played. So what do you think of The Lion King on Super Nintendo? Is it as hard as I make it out to be? Have you spent all summer trying to beat that second level and the rest of the game? Let me know down in the comments below, or on Twitter at Janjo Brand, and let's keep talking about these cool retro games, because they're still interesting to talk about, I think. So yeah, until then, have a nice day.